Hi, good morning, everybody. Got some stuff I'd like to talk about. It's kind of a touchy subject, probably for a lot of us in the oil field. Or you don't have to necessarily be in the oil field to be out of work right now and be on hard times, but it's kind of what it's geared towards. And I know there is a lot of us in the oil field that are probably struggling with this. And like I said, it's kind of a touchy deal because people can take it a bunch of different ways. I know it speaks to me, but I'm reading in Hebrews, and Hebrews was said to be wrote by Paul, Silas, a bunch of different people. There's supposed to be a bunch of authors. A lot of people say wrote them, but because it doesn't really say who it was. But anyway, they wrote to the Hebrews, which to the Jews, kind of a second generation Jew families. So they had been at Pentecost. In Acts, we read about Pentecost whenever they all separated, everything went back, they went to Rome, and that's how Christianity kind of spread across the world, was because they were all there at Pentecost, and then they all went their own ways and kind of spread Christianity. So in Rome, it had reached that far. So they're writing to the Jews, and they're telling them, after 30 years or so, that was in the 30s when Pentecost was, and Hebrews was wrote in the 60s sometime AD. So it'd been 30 years, so they're probably on their second generation of Christians. So not understanding the Bible and things like that, they're writing to these people, and more or less it's a in-your-face kind of deal. They're writing them and telling them, hey, this is kind of the guidelines. You need to get back to the basics. These are the things you need to know. And so just to give you a little background of what Hebrews is. So here's what it is. Hebrews, like I said, it's kind of an in-your-face guideline on how to do things and what's right, what's wrong kind of deal. Anyhow, so I'm reading in Hebrews 13:5, and this is where it relates to what I started this message with. And it says, "Don't love money. Be satisfied with what you have, for God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you." So we can say with confidence, "The Lord is my helper, so I will have no fear. What can mere people do to me?" So, I know, kind of serious, but what I'm talking about here is, don't love money. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't content with everything that I got. I should be a lot more content, but I always feel the need to have more. I think that's, in a society, that's our way of thinking, and, that's terrible. I mean, I'm not going to say it's like that all the time, because material things don't mean that much to everybody, but we always feel the need to have more. And we need to be more content with what we have, and understand that God's not going to fail us. We may feel like we're failing. Times are tough. You lose your job. You take pay cuts. Things are terrible. Times are tough. I agree. The times are tough all over, but we have to remember that He will never fail us. It says, that's in Deuteronomy, I believe, is where it says that. And I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. And we got that to hold on to. So we need to be a little more content with what we have. And I'm kind of looking in a mirror whenever I say this, because like I said, our society tends to want more money, more things, more house, more everything. And it's not bad to desire things, and I believe God will bless you for working hard for the things you have, but let's always remember that He's not failing us. We got to count our blessings and not the things that He doesn't allow. A lot of times, for me personally, I get to looking, why hasn't God allowed me to have this? Why hasn't God allowed me to make more money? Why hasn't God allowed me to have a different deal, a different life, a different job where I would make more money, where I would have more things? We kind of get self-righteous from time to time. I know maybe I'm the only one where we kind of think, we do the right thing. Why not? Well, that's not how it is. That's the oldest thing. That's starting in Genesis. That's the first deception that Satan does. He tells Eve, the only reason God don't want you to eat from that tree is because He don't want you to know everything. So Eve gets in her mind, she's thinking, well, God, He's forbidden me to know these things. Well, then she starts dwelling on all the things that God's forbidden instead of the things that God had given her. Everything. God had gave her everything. Her and Adam both. So, that's the original sin almost. That's it. It goes back to that. We don't count our blessings a lot of times. And when we do, we tend to count the things that we don't have more. So, like I said, this speaks to me personally on a whole new level, because like I said, I'll stress and worry about things, and I know in our line of work, especially in our line of work, it seems that way right now. We maybe not necessarily just love money, but we like to provide for our families, and that's not a bad thing. Providing for your family, making sure your family's taken care of. I'm not saying all that's bad. I'm not saying working hard and making good money is bad. Believe me, I don't think that at all. But I'm saying we have to be content and know that God's not going to leave us when times are tough, things suck. Life's getting at you. I mean, He's not going to leave us. He'll never fail us, and He'll never abandon us. So the more we can be content with what we got and rely on Christ for our whole everything, the happier we're going to be in the long run. I hope everybody has a good week. Hope everybody keeps praying for the oil field. It's not just drilling side. It's not just the guys that that live around the area. It's families are hurting. So everybody, please keep praying for the oil field. Pray for our country. Pray for a good leader. Pray for our leader. You like them or not, we got to pray for them. I hope everybody has a good week. Keep praying for our troops, and I'll talk to y'all next week.